So here's the control screen in Cuphead, and as you can see, we can remap pretty much any action that we would like. However, as you will see, even if I ask it to replace, for example, move right with a piano key, it simply will not detect any key presses. So what we'll have to do is to build a translation layer that turns piano keys into keyboard keys. The piano communicates with the computer through a protocol called MIDI, which is pretty standard for musical devices. And I found this Python library that lets us read and write anything going through MIDI. I have MIDI sample code running here. And as you can see, once I press a note, we can read which note was played and its velocity. Not only that, but also once we release the note, it will also tell us that the note is now off. So now we just have to translate that into actual keyboard commands. And for that, we're going to be using another library called PyInput. And I already made the code here, as you can see. I just haven't actually mapped which piano keys I want to use. And if I run the code and go into this untitled text document here, you will see that if I press the correct notes, as you can see, we are typing using the piano now. One issue that I did notice is when I press a certain note, as you can see here is typing V, but if I hold it, it won't spam the letter V as it would if I, for example, pressed V on my keyboard. Honestly, I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure this out, but actually this seems to be kind of a Windows safety feature. Doing the same thing in a game, if I hold the key, it does work. So the code is already perfect as is. I just have to replace the keys to make sure that it's actually comfortable to play, As the first game we'll be playing, I have selected Cuphead, specifically because it's challenging and it should be pretty entertaining and impressive, but also because it's a 2D game. So if you really think about the layout of the keys in the piano, 2D games should be the best use case scenario, right? As far as the code goes, it's pretty simple. The most important part is this mappings part here, because that's what really ties the piano keys to the keyboard keys. Then we just open the MIDI input and search for the mappings that we have above. And then we just tell the keyboard controller to press the note that's mapped in the hash map. That's pretty much it. Now go! So far, so good. I hate the carrots. Come on. So close. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. A minus. That's actually better than expected. Next up we have that as disco. So this is much trickier than Cuphead when thinking about setting up the piano as a controller, mostly because it's a 3D game. And usually in 3D games, we also need to use the mouse. So we have two controllers here, one for the keyboard and one for the mouse. And then we will use mostly the mouse buttons, to be honest. However, I did map the position as well, so we can control the camera at least a little bit using the piano keys. But overall, like it's pretty similar, you know? We'll just check in which of these mappings the pressed key is, and then we will control the keyboard or mouse accordingly.
Skill issue, Charlie. Yeah. Profit roll is the day. A corporate machine. Fake breaks taking over. So fire your stack to your screen. Breathing off the world of the consumer trap. You'll break these fires and spot your soul's about to drop. Welcome to the subway asylum. Substitute for flight to fight. Secretly vacation will. Hold on tight. Welcome to the subway asylum. We start fires where fires are
There you go.
You can never be so quiet. You better get out of here.
And I'm dead. Let's try that again.
Skill issue, Charlie. Yeah. Profit rules the day. A corporate machine. Fake breaks taking over. So fire your stack to your screen. Breathing off the world of the consumer trap. You'll break these drives and start yourself about. Welcome to the subway asylum. Substitute for flight to fight. If you give her leash and vacation, hold on tight. Welcome to the subway asylum. We start fires where fires are. If you can keep the peace and quiet, you better get out of here. The voice of truth, 'cause I am raw and clear. What's your baby, what you in and lock the culinary you in the secret burn the sunshine. Welcome to the subway.
Okay, that's it. Pretty good this time. I reached round 7 using the piano as my controller. Pretty chaotic, but like it still worked, right? I didn't use any camera controls. I don't think I would be using them in the regular game controller as well. Last but not least, we have Deemo. Deemo is actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this project. It's a rhythm game where you play as kind of a black Slenderman type of character that plays the piano. There's a little girl and there's a story, but I'm not familiar with it, to be honest. Back in the day, I used to play it in my phone, but there has been a PC version for a while now. It even has a VR mode. In terms of setting up the piano as the controller, this is the simplest of them all, to be honest. The only thing that I wanted to make sure was that the sharps and the flats, which is how we call the black keys in the piano, actually match the black keys in game. And that's pretty much it. Okay, let's go. Here we go. I don't think I missed any notes, so this was more a matter of timing. Worked perfectly. I could play with no problems at all. It does resemble Synthesia a little bit, to be honest. However, the notes I selected kind of mess up the music for the game. So that can be a little bit annoying. Of course, I can just mute the piano and then I can just play using the game music. Well, I guess that's it for today. It was pretty interesting and fun. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. But I'll see you guys next time.